Hey everyone, it's Daphne and I'm back to continue working on the Love Notes by Graphic 45. This is an 8.5 by 8.5 mini album and we've completed page 1, 2, and 3 and now we're on to page 4 and 5. And 4 and 5 are mirrors of each other. I've gone ahead and dry fit and inked all my edges, so really all I need to do is get some adhesive down and get these pages put in place, and then we'll move on. Get my paper clips out of the way. I went ahead and clipped everything together so that I could go through the installation quickly. So this is a directional piece and I flipped this first panel down, so just want to make sure that your, I thought I inked all the edges, that your words are going in the right direction. Excited to get this out, and for those of you that watch our videos all the time, my next project is going to be Prima. So I'm going to work on the Prima Pretty Pale collection next, as soon as I get done with this project, which is very, very soon. And I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to do a larger format. I think I'm going to do the 8 by 10 for the Pretty Pale. My glue was not flowing. There we go. There it is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use my contrast under here. All right, so that is in. Go ahead and do this one next because I want to get the paper clip out of the way. Sorry, my cap rolled off the table. It does not want to flow for me this morning. Try that one more time. There we go. There it comes. I think I had a little dry spot in there. Okay. Definitely directional. I'm going to turn this over so I can see the top as well. It looks like I need to adjust it slightly. Beautiful. Okay. So there are the first couple of pieces down. The next one is actually 2 pieces, and I have to remember how I did it. Again, there's one of those. I think that's what I did. I'm going to go ahead and get my striped paper down. turn it sideways so I can see my my leading edge here. Get some contrast down. And scoot that over. And I'm trying to make sure I stay clear of my score lines. Oops. And that's important if you want your flaps to move freely. Okay. It's a little warm in here, but use the jacket. All right, so that's that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this and this. And I'm gonna put my top page down, which is the actual kind of the signature page of the collection. There we go. Nice. Okay. Okay, that is in. So the last piece is the top panel, and honestly, I don't remember how I organized it, so I'm going to look at, okay, I guess that's what I did. Is that, yeah. I think I want to do black and then red up here. So I think that's what I had done. But now's the time that I can change things up if I want to. And I kind of like that too. I definitely want the black on the bottom. And it looks like I forgot to ink it. So I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, so that's going to go in on the bottom like so. Okay, now I am going to turn my book and my paper over so I can see more closely the score line here. Little excess glue there, pull that off. All right, and so now this is going to be what's on top, and it looks like I need to trim this down just a little bit. So that is what I'm going to do. Because I really don't want all this excess paper, the overlap. So I'm going to trim it down real quick. See how it looks. Looks pretty good, but if you can see, my margins are not perfect, so I am going to shave a little bit off this side here. And this is an example of where, you know, your paper is never perfectly square. So sometimes you actually have to put it in put it in the trimmer a little bit crooked to get your desired result. So this is the edge I want to trim. I was just double checking. Let's see how that looks. Yep, that looks good. Tuck that. I'm going to ink that white edge and lay it down. One more time. Looks good. And then for the next page, page 5, it's the same thing. Same flap design and same patterns that we're going to use. So this will go pretty quickly. Wow, a lot of excess glue here that I need to clean up. So. And I just use my fingernail to peel it off. It will dry clear, but you'll notice a slight texture change if you don't take off the excess glue. Okay. All right, so turn that right side up and we'll look at it. So there's the cover. There's one flap. And here's the second flap. And there's the centerpiece. So. Right. So you can actually do it either way, but I've got it designed to go this way. But when I come back and add all my embellishments, I may change my mind and change the sequence. It's hard to know. All right, so this is going to be the companion page for this. And I wanted these prints to go together, so I think I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. So let's get this down. And then we're going to go with the inside piece. And if you recall, so those are images, mirror images. Let's see, I need to ink that real quick. Seems like I inked all the A sides, but not the B sides. Maybe that's what's going on. Typically when I do a design, what I do is I go through my album and I pick all my designer papers for the A side of the flaps. And then once I know how much paper is going to be used for the tops of the flaps, I can go back and plan the inside flaps. Not everybody does it that way, but that's how I do it because I want to make sure that I'm really visually pleased with the A side of the flap, because every time you open a page, that's the first thing you see. And make sure I'm out of the hinge. All right, nice. And then let's get started with the top flap. Let's go ahead and do the inside so it's not floating around on us. All right, so this top flap was 8 inches across, and that's what I had originally designed. And then I came back and I shaved off a very thin sliver because this flap was actually interfering with the gusset. So I'm going to put in the cut list that we need to adjust that so that your flaps will open and close and not get caught in the gusset. So if you've already constructed your album but haven't put down your designer papers, I would suggest that you go back, and I did this with an X-Acto knife, shave a sliver off. Otherwise it's going to keep getting caught up in the gusset and the hinge of the book, which can be frustrating because it bends your paper. Okay, and put this down. Oops, my flap closed on me. This needs to be on the centerpiece. Okay, and I'm just double checking to make sure that the flap moves freely. And it does. Okay, let's go ahead and get the top piece laid in. Okay, now we are ready to do the top flap, B side, and remember we're turning the book over, so we need to make sure that we reorient the paper as well. And I guess that is what happened. I didn't do the B sides, so I apologize. Watching me ink isn't the most exciting thing. Okay, nice even margins. And then again, I think my paper, yeah, is too large, so I've got to trim this down. Let's see how that did. Oh, I did. Looks good. I'm going to ink it and lay it down. And then we're done with 4 and 5. trying to see which way it fits best. And I think I like it best this way. Okay, that is done. There we go. Turn the book right side up. And now we have page 4 and 5 are complete. Okay, on to page 6. And now you're going to start to see duplicates in the design of the flaps, which is deliberate. Okay, I'm going to start here. And this is the one where I'm using a piece of ephemera and a couple of strips on either side of this flap. Got a little frog in my throat this morning. These thin strips are so hard to work with, but they look pretty when you're done, but they are kind of a pain. And I mentioned it on the other page, but if I had it to do over again, I probably would have made the bottom strip thicker and, you know, shifted the ephemera up a little bit and made the 2 strips on either side a little more even, just because this thing is so tiny and hard to work with. Although I like the look, it's a lot of work to try to get it in and get it straight. Once you get paper this thin too, it sometimes wants to wave. I'm going to put a contrast piece here so I can see the edges clearly. And I didn't get enough ink on that. I can see white edge everywhere. Better. Once it's too short or not far enough over here. There, better. Okay, that's in. All right, the next piece is going to be the ephemera that goes here, and then we're going to have a strip that goes up here, which I still need to trim down to fit exactly. Okay. And if you don't want to fuss around with this, what you can do is just trim a piece of paper to fit the flap and lay the ephemera piece right down on it. I was trying to conserve my paper because I hadn't finished covering all my flaps. I wasn't sure how much more I was going to need. But I think there's adequate paper that you could just do the simple one, cover the mat, and then lay your ephemera on the mat. All right, so I need to trim this piece down to size. Let me get my extra glue off. Okay, that's done. Okay, I think that's the most challenging cut apart that I have, so the rest of this will go pretty quick. Okay, this is inked. This is the top panel. I'm just dry fitting real quick to make sure, yep, it is trimmed to size. Trim to fit. I gotta go a little easier on the glue. I keep using too much glue. A little bit lighter hand. All right. Okay. This is the right side. Okay. So this is the centerpiece. So I'm going to go ahead and put the centerpiece in. So that it's not floating around on me, and then we'll do the pocket. Okay, double check the pocket fit. Everything looks good. Oh, you know what? I remember this. This needs to be trimmed down, but I can do that a little bit later. This hard to see without contrast. My pocket extended the page just a hair, so I am going to lay this down and then trim that off with my X-Acto knife. But I'm going to make sure that my piece here is sort of leaning this way because I know this is going to get trimmed off. Yeah, so I'll use this as the guide. I had forgotten about that. Okay, that's in. All right, now we've got our inside panels. They need to be inked. Inside or B side, left, right flap. The sun just came out from behind the clouds and there's a severe shadow in here. Sorry about that. But that's the sun coming out. I can lower my blinds a little. As soon as I get this in, I think I'll do that. Okay, make sure there was no interference and it closes nicely. I'm gonna lower my blind so I don't have such. There we go. There's still some shadow, but it's not nearly as severe. Sorry about that. Okay, we'll get this side in. All right. Okay, so now let's get our top panels on, and this is, so I cut down one piece and then I trimmed it or split it in half so the words actually go together. So if you do decide to do the same thing, just make sure you've got the left one on the right, the left on the correct panel and the right on the correct panel, so that your word comes together in the end. And same thing if you use a particular pattern that you want to split. I think it's kind of a neat design feature, but it's very easy to get it turned around. And as you can see, it says Sonatas. All right, that's in. Okay. There we go. And like I said, I'm going to have something that goes in here in this pocket that's actually going to hold all these pieces in place. In the meantime, I'm just going to leave a paper clip there to hold it in place while we work on the next page, which is page 7. Okay, we're on to page 7, which is a top flap and a bottom flap and a main piece. So we're going to start with, I want to start with this piece here and get this all put in. So I'm going to use my contrast sheet. And I didn't really run out of paper. I just like the way this came together. I like to try to use at least one pattern across both pages, and I was having a hard time working the stripe in, and I didn't want a whole panel of stripe. So this is how I solved that problem. And I'm going to start by putting this piece in and then guide the larger piece off the bottom of this, because I like to have my edges as crisp as possible. Shifting this so I can get closer to it. Okay, a little bit of extra glue. There we go. All right. And this is going to go here. Okay, just trying to make sure I've got my words going the right direction. And you know what? I did this and then I'm not sure. Can't remember if I butt right up against the black or if I have. Yeah, I do. Okay. I wasn't sure if I had left a seam of black between the two, but it looks like I trimmed it to fit exactly against each other. Like so. Well, actually there is room for a small. Okay. All right, there it is. And I like the way that turned out. I think these two patterns together look good. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the main page down. I'm gonna shift everything up. So we're gonna get this one down. Okay, I am going to turn this sideways. There we go. And use my contrast. And then I have to make sure the orientation. I want my guitars going the right direction. got dry glue everywhere. Okay, that looks good. My glue is drying out. Sorry. Small break to get some of my supplies back in order. Okay, so the next piece is I'm having a hard time remembering. I hate that. Is that what I did? That looks right. That works too. I think I'm going to do this because I'm going to plan on putting some bling on top of this panel with some chipboard or more ephemera or something like that. So I think I'm going to use the more simple pattern on the very top and put the more colorful ones on the inside. And my glue is not cooperating. I left the cap off too long. Let's see how that goes. There it goes. Okay, this is the right orientation. Okay, looks good. All right, and then the inside flaps are pretty straightforward because they're both the same design. And I did not ink them. Take a quick break from the glue, grab my ink. They both need it. And you can see the white edge, and it's much more obvious when it lays against the black paper when you're finished. You can really see all those white edges. They kind of pop out against the black, and I don't like that look. I don't want to see the white, the core of the paper. I want to see the paper. Okay, we are coming to a close. I think I left the trim pieces for the last page in the other room, so I have to go get those, but we are coming to the end of the inside of the album. And then I still have to finish the installation and design of the cover. And I like to wait on that because as you're applying all these designer layers inside the book, the cover of the book gets some wear and tear. So the longer you can wait to put your cover on, the better. As you can see, I'm sliding my book all over the place, turning it upside down, opening and closing. And all those things are pretty hard, especially if you have any dimensional aspect to your cover, which I almost always do. All right, that is in. Looks good. I'm going to turn this over, put my contrast under it, and then we're going to cover it, and then we have to remember, because it's upside down, the words need to be upside down. I need to make sure I'm following the orientation. And then the last page, page 8, is a duplicate of page 1. So we're going to use that ephemera card to hold everything in place. And that looks gorgeous. Very happy with the look of this. Yeah. I'll Beauteous. Okay, and remember that's going to come out once I have ephemera to close it.